We have some potential big news in the way of NHL and NBA expansion slash relocation. Billionaire Stan Kroenke takes control of a project titled Midway Rising. Sounds like the title to a bad Nicolas Cage action movie. But anyways, that is the title of this project, Midway Rising. This has been a project that's been thought of for multiple years. Now we do have official new renderings. And let me just say, if you guys remember the Arizona Coyotes Tempe, Arizona pitch, this is very similar to what that was. This is very similar to what that was. You can see all the different things it would including affordable housing, a modern new arena with a capacity of 16,000. So the capacity is interesting there, 16K. Right now, the city of San Diego, which is where this would be located, this new arena, they do have a current arena that does have a capacity very similar, around 16,000. This potential new project reminds me of the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City, Missouri, to where it's a very nice arena, but they don't have a team yet. There's no NBA team in Kansas City. There's no NHL team in Kansas City. Very similar to the Quebec City Videotron Arena as well. State-of-the-art arena. They don't have an NHL team yet. San Diego could be the next type of city to get something like this, where they're building a state-of-the-art complex with a brand new stadium. It almost looks like a translucent roof, maybe with a light-up exterior. That's kind of the new big thing that I want to see. Well, I'll just be honest. I want to see a sphere stadium or arena for an NBA team or an NHL team. Like a circle. I think that'd be crazy. But either way, you can look at the entire complex. A lot of different housing. A lot of greenery going in here. And then it does have the thing that we're all interested in, the new arena. I didn't even know there were all these different potential projects in this area. Take a look at all the different ones that have been proposed. Discover Midway, Midway Village Plus, Hometown San Diego, and now we do have the Midway Rising, which is a huge project, probably, very likely costing well over $1 billion. It should be a mega project if this thing gets done. And now we shift our focus to NBA expansion. We all know the two major favorites, Las Vegas and Seattle. Would San Diego be an option for the NBA? I really don't think so. I think this is more of an NHL situation. You can see the renderings have some NHL action there on the video board that's lit up around the outside of the stadium. I do think Arizona Coyotes, could they become the San Diego Coyotes? This is just my speculation, but it is possible, and you do have a capacity of 16K that I would surmise could be expandable to 17 or 18,000. That would be enough for an NHL team. And that might be what they're going for, but it is also important to remember this is not some big new arena. They have a current arena that hosts events, concerts, and things. It's just really old. It might be called like the San Diego Sports Arena, or I do think they have a naming sponsorship, but it is very old, and this entire area has been rumored to be repurposed. This is just the latest iteration of the brand new renderings. The exterior of the arena reminds me of Bridgestone Arena, the flying saucer look. Also, maybe the Superdome in New Orleans. Pretty impressive. Unfortunately, we haven't seen any interior renderings, but this should be possibly a multi-billion-dollar project. It reminds me of the Kansas City situation. It reminds me of the Quebec City situation, where they build an arena with the idea, maybe in the back of their minds, they might end up getting a professional sports team. The same thing happened in Oklahoma City when they built what was, best known as Chesapeake Arena. That was originally built without any NBA expansion team coming. That thing went up in 2001. This is kind of what cities are doing. We saw, Tampa Bay Tropicana Field go up in the early 90s, and then they get the raise about 5 years later. So this could be a situation where we're talking 4 or 5 years down the line, San Diego, who just lost the Chargers, might try and get back into it with an NBA or an NHL team. They do have impressive support with the Padres, but also some of that is the Padres have been spending a ton of money. They've got a lot of star players. They're not playing unbelievably well, but that is a very, very good situation for fans. You're talking about amazing weather. Petco Park is really good, but it is a thing where the Padres are getting a ton of fan support right now. The attendance is really good. That could entice a team to possibly look at relocating, or the NBA in an expansion effort looking at San Diego as a potential option. I think NHL, the Coyotes, far more likely, with this brand new state-of-the-art arena possibly going up by 2025. At least that's the initial rumors. And it says about Midway Rising. Midway Rising's team is like no other, local to San Diego, driven by values and vision. Blah, blah, blah. They're just talking about the housing and things like that. And then they say a 16,000 seat arena at a modern, dynamic, mixed-use entertainment district added to the Midway neighborhood. So it's a bunch of housing, very similar, again, to the Tempe thing that failed, the $2.1 billion proposal, but this is just another district surrounded right next to a brand new arena that theoretically could host either NHL or NBA games in San Diego. San Diego, there might be some more demand for another professional sports team after losing the Chargers. So this is something we'll have to see. It looks like something's going to be happening with the development moving forward, led by billionaire Stan Kroenke, who has joined the development group on that project. And then one other thing I wanted to mention, the University of South Florida, who has one of the worst current stadium situations in all of college football. Right now, they play at Raymond James Stadium, which is an NFL stadium, South Florida. Not a huge university, so there's always empty seats. They are getting a new stadium. You can take a look at it in 2026. The cost of it right around $500 million. I was waiting for some newer renderings, but I guess at least right now they're not coming. Normally, when they officially announce the project will be breaking ground, we get more HD renderings. This rendering was from a while ago. I think I saw this rendering last year, and they just haven't updated it. I do think it is very nice. You've got a nice little man-made, pond right next to it. That's a little peaceful area. A bunch of trees, some nice vegetation, and just such a better setup for South Florida football, a smaller stadium. I am a little concerned that it looks like one of the sides of the stadium, one of the end zones, is not closed. That's kind of weird for building a new stadium, and one of the end zones is just grass, but maybe that's what they're trying to go with. Either way, it's completely scaled down from Raymond James, and anytime you have a college football team playing at an NFL stadium, you're going to want to stop doing that ASAP, because of the atmosphere and how bad it is. So the fact that this is happening, it's been a saga since 1988. Or 1998, I was doing some research on it. Take a look at that. That was one of their previous designs. I actually like the newer design better. I feel like there's no way they could fill this up. It looks like this has the capacity of like 60K, and you can see the overhangs on each side, but that's not the one they're going with. They're going with a scaled down one. Almost looks like a circle. It is a circle going around it, so I did want to quickly mention that. But the big story today, San Diego could be in the market with this new arena project for an NBA or an NHL team. Much more likely, in my opinion, NHL, because the NBA's in a situation where there's two main favorites, Seattle and Las Vegas. Other than that, they would probably need a relocation. Much more likely, the NHL looks to San Diego in the coming years as a relocation option. The most obvious choice would be for the Coyotes, who the speculation right now still, it looks like Houston would be the favorite for them. You've also thrown around Kansas City. You've also thrown around, people have said maybe Quebec City, but it seems unlikely at this point. Either way, the Midway Rising project that is being taken over by Stan Kroenke, and we'll have to see what ends up coming of it. They say they're targeting 2025. That seems a little optimistic. I would say 2026, but it is important to remember this could be a situation where it opens in 2025 or 2026, and then they get a team in like 2029 or 2030. It could be something like that with seating that probably would need to be expanded, I would say. The normal spot for an NBA or an NHL arena in terms of capacity feels like 18,000. I mean, I guess technically they could make 16K work. It just seems like it would be on the, lower side of capacity. But that is the situation surrounding San Diego right now with their new arena project. So guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.